Trev's Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. That's just too sweet. Anyway, so back to retired numbers. And really, I've been waiting a while to make this one. So keep with me on this one. We're talking about the third number retired in Pittsburgh. And much like in the same vein as the Mario Lemieux video I did, which, if you want, just follow the link up above there. But much like in the same vein, this is one of my favorite players growing up. So I kind of want to do this one a little bit of justice, at least make it presentable. So with that being said, here's my submission to the Retired Numbers playlist. And we're going to talk about the number 68, which belonged to one Jaromir Jagr. Let's talk about it. Alright, so Jaromir Jagr's 11-year career with the Pittsburgh Penguins began on June 16th, 1990, when the Penguins selected Jagr 5th overall in the 1990 NHL entry draft. Now, according to popular rumor, and I don't know how much of a rumor you still want to call this since it was confirmed by the man, what Jaromir Jagr did during draft interviews was he told the 4 teams that drafted ahead of the Penguins, that being the Nordiques, Red Wings, Canucks, and Philadelphia Flyers, that he had to complete a year of mandatory military service in Czechoslovakia, so he wouldn't be NHL ready for at least a year. But when it came time to talk to the Penguins, he told them he'd be able to start tomorrow. So that's probably what sealed his deal for him. Now, the reasoning behind this was due to Mario, as Mario was Jagr's favorite player growing up. So he wanted to put himself in the best position to win Stanley Cups. Smart move. Now, as for that mandatory military service, the Czechoslovakian government gave him their full blessing. He did not have to complete mandatory military service. So off to training camp he went. And while he did make the team out of training camp, his first little bit in the NHL would be without Mario, as Mario was rehabbing injuries. At least for the first half of the season anyway. And his first game would be October 5th, 1990, what turned out to be a 7-4 win against the Washington Capitals, with his first goal coming 2 days later in a 7-4 win against the New Jersey Devils. Now a little later in the season, with Mario making his comeback and the Penguins solidifying the team for a deep playoff run by making a series of trades, which included to a lot of key contributors coming back to Pittsburgh, one of which being Ron Francis, the Penguins would finish first place in the Patrick Division with a 41-33-6 record, with Jagr playing a full 80-game schedule, finishing 5th in team scoring with 57 points, which got him elected to the NHL's All-Rookie team and got him 6th place in Calder Memorial Trophy voting, which goes to Rookie of the Year. The 91 Stanley Cup playoffs would see Jagr play a contributing role, along with the plethora of stars on this team. To be exact, that's 11 Hall of Famers as of this recording. Enough said on that. Jagr helped out with 13 points in 24 playoff games to help the Penguins win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. Now, fun fact, the Penguins would never miss the playoffs as long as Jagr was on the team. Fun fact number 2, Jagr was still a teenager when the Penguins won the Cup. So this meant he couldn't drink out of the bowl, legally anyway. That's a shame. Now, the 91-92 season would see an improvement in Jagr's stats and see him finishing the season with 69 points. Nice. In 70 games, which also saw his time playing with Mario really significantly increase. And his 69 points were good for 6th on team scoring, 1 point behind teammate Mark Recchi. The 91-92 season would also see Jagr play in his first of 9 All-Star games representing the Pittsburgh Penguins. So with the same team pretty much still intact from their first Cup run, On deck for a second cup run, Jagr, in 21 games, would put up playoff career highs with 11 goals and 13 assists for 24 points, with the Pittsburgh Penguins winning their second Stanley Cup in franchise history. Again, smart man. 2 years in, he's got 2 Stanley Cups to his name. More would be on the way, you'd think, right? Now, the 92-93 season saw the Penguins not just rebrand, but also play their best hockey ever in Pittsburgh, with the Penguins winning the President's Trophy with a league-best 56 wins and 119 points, which includes still to this day, a 17-game winning streak. Yeah, that's still there. It's been challenged a few times, but to date, no team has gotten past the 16. Jagr got close to 100 points in the season, finishing with 94 in 81 games, just 6 points shy. But Jagr was also one of 8 players on this team to finish the season with more than 60 points. I don't think that number can ever be achieved. 8 players on one team with 60 points in a season. I don't know if you can replicate that again. So with that win streak deep in mind, and the President's Trophy firmly in their hands, the quest for a three-peat shouldn't be out of the ordinary, right? The team entered the playoffs strong and could possibly pull the whole thing off. But after eliminating the Devils in 5, the Rangers would lose to the Patrick Division Finals in a soul-crushing 7-game overtime to the New York Islanders. Now Jagr would finish the playoffs with 9 points in 12 games. Now the 93-94 season would see the Penguins relocated to the new Northeast Division after the NHL realigned their divisions, and would also see the Penguins limited to only 22 regular season games with Mario Lemieux in the lineup, which put Jagr in a more offensive role, for the better. Now, while the Penguins did finish first in the Northeast Division, Jagr still had some trouble cracking the 100-point mark, missing it by only 1 point. He did, however, lead the team with 67 assists and 99 points. And while the Penguins did make the playoffs, they'd be beat out of the first round by the Washington Capitals. And then we had a lockout. Now, the 94-95 lockout managed to wipe the season down to 48 games, with the Penguins being without Mario Lemieux for the entire season, as he announced previously before the lockout even started that he'd be taking 94-95 off for recovery. The man went through a lot in the 90s. And really that didn't seem to phase the Penguins all that much, as they still had a really good start to the season, going 12-0-1 on their way to finishing second in the Northeast Division, with Jagr playing in all 48 games, finished the season with a league-leading 32 goals and tying for the league lead in points with 70 with Eric Lindros. But it was those 32 goals that were used as the tiebreaker, to which gave Jagr his first of 5 Art Ross trophies with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, fun fact, Jagr became the 3rd player since 1980 to win the Art Ross Trophy, as between 1980 and 2001, there were only 3 winners for the Art Ross Trophy. Some guy named Gretzky, Mario, and Jagr himself. Now, the 94-95 season also saw Jagr get his first NHL First All-Star Team nomination of 6 while he was with the Penguins. And the Penguins did make the playoffs, and would see the Penguins make it as far as the Eastern Conference semifinals before being eliminated in 5 games to the eventual Stanley Cup winners, the New Jersey Devils, with Jagr posting up 15 points in 12 games. The 95-96 season would be the best year of Jagr's career, not just with his time in Pittsburgh, his entire career, and his career was long. And it wasn't all bad for the Penguins either. Mario came back after missing the lockout-shortened season, and with Lemieux back, the Penguins shot straight right back up to first place in the Northeast Division. And while Mario did lead the league in scoring with 161 points, Jagr would finish second in league scoring with a career high 62 goals, as well as a league record amongst right wing forwards with 87 assists, as well as 149 points. Now, both of those records still stand in the league record books, and those same 149 points are also a league record for points by a European born player, which still stands to this day. The season with the Penguins making the playoffs and being favorites to win the Cup for a third time. This is a theme that'll basically go the rest of Jagr's career with Pittsburgh. They're always going to be Cup favorites. Penguins would make as far as the Eastern Conference Finals before losing a heartbreaking 7-game series to the Stanley Cup finalists, the Florida Panthers, with Jagr adding 23 points in 18 games. So, last 2 seasons, they've played the Stanley Cup winner and the Stanley Cup finalist. Jagr would also earn his second first NHL All-Star Team nomination for the season he had. Now, the 96-97 season was a bit of an up-and-down season for the Penguins, which saw them start slow, pick up, and get really hot in the middle half of the season, and then cooling down during the stretch, to close out the season. But it was also a Penguins season that saw a lot of injuries to a lot of the key players in the lineup. Oh, and by the way, it was Mario's last season, as he announced before the season started that he intended to retire when the season ended. Now, news of Mario's impending retirement seemed to put Jagr in a more leadership kind of role with the team. And while he only played 63 games this season, he still managed to finish 6th in league scoring with 95 points. Now, while the Penguins did finish second in the Northeast Division, that in itself was only good enough to get them the number 6 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, which saw the Penguins lose to interstate. I have to say interstate because I got lots of heat for saying cross-state last time. To interstate rivals, the Philadelphia Flyers, in 5 games, with Jagr leading the team in playoff scoring with 8 points. Now, Jagr would only earn his only second NHL All-Star Team nomination for this season. The 97-98 season was a great season for the Penguins, getting back to familiar territory with winning another Northeast Division title, which gave them the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Not better than number 6. Jagr would lead the league in scoring with 102 points, which includes a team-leading 35 goals, as well as a league tie for first in assists with 67. Tied with some guy named Gretzky. Gretzky. His 102 points would get Jagr his second Art Ross trophy, as well as it being his first of 4 in a row. Now, in the playoffs, the number 2 Penguins, once again, heavy favorites to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals. Well, they lost in the first round in 6 games to number 7 Montreal Canadiens, with Jagr contributing 9 points in those 6 games. Now, Jagr would also earn his third first NHL All-Star Team nomination for this season. Now, prior to the 98-99 season starting, team captain, amazing assist man, and all-around amazing player, Ron Francis. Well, he had decided to sign with Carolina as a free agent, which ultimately meant Jaromir Jagr was going to be selected the next team captain, and that would be a role he would hold till his time in Pittsburgh was done. Now, in what could be called a highlight in one's career, Jaromir Jagr would bury an overtime winner in the season finale, the last game of the season, against the New York Rangers on April 18th, 1999. No, what's so special about that, you're saying? Well, it was Wayne Gretzky's last game, and he bookmarked Wayne Gretzky's last game with an OT winner. Now, I remember a lot of the quote-unquote experts at this time were calling this a passing the torch moment. I never agreed with that sentiment. Jagr was already good before the torch was ever passed to him. So, if it's a torch of longevity, sure. But, Gretzky only played 20 years. Jagr, I think, just finally announced he was retiring from professional hockey at the end of the 23-24 season while playing in Czechia. Jagr would once again lead the league in points with 127, including a team-leading 44 goals. and a league-leading 83 assists to earn his third Art Ross trophy. And while the Penguins did finish third in the Northeast Division, it would only be good enough to get them the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference playoff bracket, but it would see them go as far as the Eastern Conference semifinals before the Penguins would ultimately lose to 6 games to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Back when Toronto actually won a series outside the first round. Jagr would contribute 12 points in only 9 games played. But on top of the Art Ross, Jagr would also win his only Hart Memorial Trophy in his career, as well as his first Lester B. Pearson Award as League MVP voted by the players. We now know that as the Ted Lindsay Award, as well as his first NHL All-Star Team nomination. Now, the 99-2000 season would see the Penguins get sold to former legend Mario Lemieux, and it would also see the Penguins start that rebuild, which would last the better part of the early half of the 2000s. But they would still make the playoffs for the 99-2000 season, however, with Jagr still leading the league in scoring with 96 points, including a team-leading 42 goals and 54 assists, which gave Jagr his 4th Art Ross trophy. Now, interesting little fact here, those 96 points were the least amount of points that won the Art Ross trophy since Stan Mikita scored 87 to lead the league back in 1968. Here's a history lesson for you. Now, the Penguins would make the playoffs again. And would make it as far as to the Eastern Conference semifinals again, only this time they'd lose to the Philadelphia Flyers in 6 games, with Jagr adding 16 points in 11 playoff games. Jagr would also earn his 2nd Lester B. Pearson Award, as well as his 5th first NHL All-Star Team nomination. Now, the 2000-2001 season would be Jagr's last season in Pittsburgh, and would also see him play in his 9th and final All-Star game representing the Pittsburgh Penguins. It would also be a season where Mario would make his return to the team, and would also see Jagr assist on Mario's first goal back in almost 4 years. And not long after that, Jagr would also score his 1,000th NHL career point on December 30th, 2000. Now, Jagr would once again lead the league in scoring for the 5th time with 121 points in 81 games, including a team-leading 52 goals and a league-leading 69 assists. Nice. This would be Jagr's 5th and final Art Ross trophy, as well as his 4th in a row. Not too many guys win scoring titles consecutively, much less for 4 seasons in a row. Now, the Penguins did make the playoffs, finishing 3rd in the Atlantic Division, which would be good enough to get them the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference bracket. And the Penguins would go as far as the Eastern Conference Finals. I remember the hype around the time. I actually thought they were going to go all the way. Where they would lose to eventual Stanley Cup finalists, the New Jersey Devils, in 5 games, with Jagr adding 12 points in the 16 playoff games he played. And Jagr would also earn his 6th first NHL All-Star Team nomination for this season. So it's around this time where, having to deal with not just the economics of having 2 superstars on the same team, again, on a team that's going to rebuild, they're looking to the future, trying to save the money because, every dollar counts for the Penguins at this point in time. Therefore, they can't, or they won't, pay for 2 superstars. And since one of your superstars is your owner, the decision ultimately had to be made. And on July 11th, 2001, Jaromir Jagr was traded with František Kačera to the Washington Capitals for Chris Beach, Michael Sivek, and Ron Lupaschuk. You can look up all those guys, all 3 of them. You're not going to find much. Yeah, I'll let you Google those guys. But that's where the story of Pittsburgh and Jaromir Jagr comes to its conclusion. So, let's go over some numbers. So in 806 regular season games played, Jagr would score 439 goals and 640 assists for 1,079 points. Now, if we're talking playoffs, that's 140 games played with 65 goals and 82 assists for 147 points. So just over a point per game average in the playoffs. He's your 5-time Art Ross Trophy winner, winning at 95, 1998, 1999, 2000, and 2001. 2-time Lester B. Pearson Award winner with the Penguins, winning it in 99 and 2000. He won the Hart Memorial Trophy in 1999. 9 All-Star games played, that's 1992, 93, 94, 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, and 2001. He was nominated to the first NHL All-Star team 6 times, 1995, 96, 98, 99, 2000, and 2001. His only second NHL All-Star team nomination came in 1997. He was named to the NHL's All-Rookie team in 1991, and he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champ, winning it in 91 and 92. Now, as for Penguins records, now this is just Penguins records. These are not league records. Some of these might be league records, but this is just Penguins records. I mean, a good chunk of these records are for European player, but records all the same. But I think it's fairly safe to say, whether you have the record or you share the record, your imprint's basically on this team at this point. He was named one of the NHL's best 100 players during the NHL Centennial season. Now, as of this recording, he has yet to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, but I'm pretty sure that'll change soon. He's the 3rd Penguin to have his number retired, and that ceremony happened on February 18th, 2024. So, what's my opinion on the guy you're asking? Let's talk about that. You know, it really was a shame he didn't spend more time in Pittsburgh in his career, but, you know, given around everything around the circumstances at the time, I get it. Dynamic player, like from one end to the other. He was a playmaker if he needed to be. He was a goal scorer if he needed to be. He could draw the penalties if you needed him to. Power play, penalty kill, shorthand, even strength. It didn't matter. Jagr was a complete player. Like, oh, there was none better. And the fact that the best moments of his career came early, often, and in Pittsburgh, I mean, that made a lot of Penguins fans happy. Guaranteed. But I mean, watching him grow into his own player from at least year 3, when he started popping into 90-point seasons, on the way to becoming the superstar that he became, I mean, it was really a treat to see happen in person, live, on TV. At that time, it didn't matter. It was fun to watch, have a superstar like Jagr, especially in the dead puck area, and he was still pushing 100 points. Oh, phenomenal. Again, one of my favorite players growing up. And it was always a highlight moment whenever the Penguins were playing. Not every moment he had the puck was a highlight moment, but he could turn on a highlight moment on the drop of a dime and make it look really good too. But all told, yeah, that is the story of the number 68, retired by the Pittsburgh Penguins. So that's another one of them Trev's hockey shows. I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you've made it to this point. I know we've made it over a 20-minute video, but these ones are usually my longest, and they're the fun ones too, so sorry, not sorry. But hey, if you're here and you liked what I was doing, if you're digging what I'm doing, feel free to give me that thumbs up. I think I've earned it, especially if you're here. You know, just let me know you're here. That's good enough for me. If you want, that red button there that says subscribe, I know you're considering it. Come on, it'll make you feel good. It'll make me feel good. Hit it up. Let's subscribe. Let's move forward. Well, we have one award coming we're in June now. We got one award coming before June 27th. The other 5 that I predicted or that I'll talk about will be released then. So we're pretty much just waiting on the playoffs to go from the way they're going to go. I mean, you could have a Prince of Wales Trophy video tomorrow. And maybe a Campbell Bowl video the day after that, but that's counting chickens. But either way, in the meantime, and in between time, be looking for more videos from the Trev. Later.